Hey, what's up, everybody? So, coming to you today with another What's Next. And this one is going to be on heavyweight contender and former world title challenger at cruiserweight, Michael Hunter. He's currently my number 10 heavyweight in the world right now. He returned on Friday, December 18th, taking on some unknown fighter. He scored a 4th round knockout in that one, just kind of shaking off the rust. It had been just over a year since he fought Alexander Povetkin in December of last year on the Joshua Andy Ruiz rematch card in Saudi Arabia, and he walked away from that one with a draw. Now, when Povetkin knocked out Dillian White, that took his stock up, Michael Hunter's stock. Now, he became a free agent this year in the heavyweight division. So now, after scoring his 4th round knockout, the big question is, what's next for Michael Hunter? Well, I was looking at where he's ranked. His highest ranking is number 4 by the IBF, but the IBF has not updated those rankings. And the reason that's significant is Kubrat Pulev's still technically, well, he's not anymore. He's going to be dropped, but they haven't updated the rankings. But he was the number 1. He cashed in on his mandatory and he lost. Now, former champion Charles Martin is number 2, and then number 3 is Alexander Usyk, with Martin coming in, or with Michael Hunter coming in at number 4. Now, Alexander Usyk is the WBO's mandatory number 1 contender, and he's going to get an eventual title shot based from the WBO. So the IBF is going to drop him probably a couple spots in the rankings, or maybe completely out, because they know that he's already the mandatory for the WBO. So how significant that is we're basically faced with the best 2 contenders left are Charles Martin and Michael Hunter. This is a fight that was being talked about earlier in the year. Andy Ruiz is 1 notch down at number 5. Now, he is a PBC guy, so I wouldn't be surprised if he got in there, but I think Andy Ruiz might be looking for a bigger fight against somebody else, maybe a Luis Ortiz. But, Michael Hunter could be in that mix right there to land a final eliminator against Charles Martin, possibly against Andy Ruiz, So I think Michael Hunter needs to really invest himself, try to sign with somebody, and get his name out there, because I don't know why he's been so avoided, but he's definitely ready for a top 10 opponent again after his performance against Povetkin. Remember, he lost to Alexander Usyk a few years ago when he challenged for the Cruiserweight Championship. He got soundly beat, but Usyk is still a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter for me. And, he gave Usyk a little bit of trouble, so it wasn't like a completely blowout. Usyk won a convincing decision, but, he gave him a little bit of trouble. He had an awkward style for him. So, he is a very good fighter as Michael Hunter. So, let's run through the top 10 and see what could be possible for the former world title challenger Michael Hunter. We start with number 1. Tyson Fury. I definitely don't see this one. Tyson Fury, even if he doesn't get the Joshua fight, I think if he doesn't fight Joshua, he's going to fight Deontay Wilder next. And if he doesn't do that, he's probably going to... it would be possible to face Michael Hunter if both those options fall through. Would be possible. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think he's probably going to be looking for a name fighter next, is what I think is Tyson Fury would do. So we got to wait and see. Wouldn't completely rule it out, but I'm leaning towards the no. Number 2 would be Deontay Wilder. I think Wilder, one way or the other, is going to fight for a version of the WBC title next. He's either going to fight Tyson Fury in her 3rd fight for the official title, or Fury's going to be upgraded to franchise champion so he could fight Anthony Joshua, and then Wilder's going to be able to fight for the vacant belt. Now, I don't think Michael Hunter's going to be the opponent that he fights, but in case somebody else doesn't step up, maybe. Michael Hunter, though, is like the WBC's number 9 or 10 contender, so I don't see them bumping him all the way up. But if everybody else says no, I think he might, but I don't think everybody else would say no. Wilder's a named fighter, so there's going to be somebody that goes after that fight just for the money's sake and for the title at stake. So I don't see Michael Hunter challenging Wilder next. Number 3, Wilder's number 3. Number 2 is unified champion Anthony Joshua. Not seeing it. If Joshua doesn't get the Fury fight, he's going to fight Alexander Usyk next. It's one of the others. So Michael Hunter's not on his radar. Number 4, Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, I like this fight. I do believe this fight is possible right here. If it's some kind of an IBF final eliminator, and if not, maybe Andy goes after him. But Andy never came back and shook off his rust. I think he's going to do that first, but, Michael Hunter just fought. Andy Ruiz is coming back soon in the next couple months. That's been confirmed. He was supposed to come back in November. He wanted a little bit more time to train. He's going to come back in the first couple months. Maybe Michael Hunter comes later, maybe towards the middle of the year or something like that. And again, like I said, some kind of an eliminator. And I think Ruiz would look at Michael Hunter as a beatable opponent. So definitely possible right here. Number 5 is Alexander Povetkin. Povetkin is likely going to fight Dillian Whyte at some point in a rematch. It'd be a mandatory rematch. Dillian Whyte's been talking about fighting somebody else first, but I wouldn't be surprised if Povetkin and him fight. Now, would Povetkin look Michael Hunter's way for a rematch? You know what? I don't think so. I think he saw, that Michael Hunter's a full package, and I think he'd go after probably a bigger name if he's going to take the risk and not get the Dillian Whyte fight next. So I'm going to say no to a rematch with Povetkin. Number 6 is Alexander Usyk, and I don't see it. He's ranked lower down in the WBO rankings. I think if Joshua doesn't fight Usyk for the for the unified title next, then I think Usyk is probably going to end up fighting one of the other contenders right after, like a Joseph Parker or somebody along those lines. Now, number 7 is Dillian Whyte. Is it Dillian Whyte? I'm sorry, got drawn away. No, Luis Ortiz. Another fight that I don't think Michael Hunter should shy away against. I know Luis Ortiz is still kind of looked at as the boogeyman, the dangerous fighter, but he's got a name. He's a contender, and if Michael Hunter were to pull off the upset over Luis Ortiz, I definitely think that's going to boost his ratings a lot right there, because Luis Ortiz is good. He's a good heavyweight. He's not unbeatable, but I definitely would favor Ortiz against Michael Hunter, but Ortiz is over 40 now. I think Michael Hunter needs to look at that and go, you know what, if I could pass this test, I'm right there for a title shot. So, I would lean on the latter half of 50-50 that it probably wouldn't go on, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did, though. So I think that's a good one to look at right there. Number 8 is Dillian Whyte. If Dillian Whyte wants to stay active and he wants to go fight Povetkin, I think it'd be a good, wants to fight and doesn't fight Povetkin next because Povetkin tested positive for COVID. That's what stalled their rematch. But Dillian Whyte's talking about, while Povetkin recovers, fighting somebody else. Why not fight Michael Hunter? I think that makes a lot of sense, because Dillian Whyte could sell the Povetkin rematch better, that he is the favorite going in and he should win it by going and beating Michael Hunter. And I think Dillian Whyte can beat Michael Hunter. I think that's a good scrap, though. So I think it's a risk for Dillian Whyte. But Dillian Whyte, if he doesn't fight Povetkin, he needs to gain some confidence. And I think Michael Hunter would be a good opponent. So I wouldn't rule this one out. I like the matchup. Number 9 is Joseph Parker. Another matchup that I like and that I think is possible, because Joseph Parker is dying for an opponent. He's not likely going to get a fight with Alexander Usyk unless Usyk fights for the interim title next while he waits around for Anthony Joshua. So why not Joseph Parker fight Michael Hunter on DAZN? That's a makeable fight. These are two guys that are avoided. Parker's a former champion. Michael Hunter's looking to make a name for himself. Another fight that I think is very possible. So there's a lot of good possibilities for Michael Hunter. He's not a big-time heavyweight, so I think people are going to look at that like, hey, this guy's beatable. And I think Michael Hunter needs to look at these options and really consider them and really push for a top 10 guy next, because he's deserving of that. So that's it. That's the what's next on Michael Hunter, the former world title challenger and current heavyweight contender. I hope you guys enjoyed this. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.